Hello everyone, my name is Drew Witherall, and today I'm going to be talking to you about open educational resources. First, let's talk about what open educational resources are. These are resources for teachers and learners that are freely accessible, openly licensed documents and media that are useful for teaching, learning, assessments, and research. So really this is part of a much larger movement of openness among educators and learners. And to me, what it really means is taking that teacher who is isolated in their content area and exposing them to more resources than what they ever would have had before. At times we teach our students to be collaborative and to share information and to build off of that information with each other. This collaborative environment that we want all of our classrooms to look like, we aren't necessarily doing ourselves. And really this is kind of a way for us to do that. Let's share the resources that we're creating and build upon each other's work so that we can offer the best possible resources to educate our students. And really that's kind of the lens that I'm looking at this through. So it also gives us an opportunity to ditch that 20-year-old textbook that history teacher might have been using for his entire career. And maybe he can go out and find some alternative resources or some media. Maybe there's a way for a teacher to actually flip their classroom and be able to bring in some resources and some media and to really approach things in a different way than they've ever thought before. And all this can be done through the use of these open educational resources. It's really just one more tool in the educator's tool bag. There are a variety of open educational resources that are out there, but I'm going to talk about one in specific today. It's the one that I have pulled up on the screen for you already. It is the IOER.il sharedlearning.org, or in other words, Illinois Open Educational Resources, and this is a library. So really what this is all about is finding those resources that are out there that people have shared and trying to organize them in ways that you can use it. You can put them into your own libraries so that you can pull those up later, and you can actually share libraries. You can share your own information, and really this is kind of a network of shared resources that can go out to educators all over. So really that's kind of the point of the site. It's really just now getting off the ground. But like I said, it's meant to be a place where people can go to search for resources and share resources with other teachers and really build a professional development community within this open educational library here. So this is really what my professional development training will be covering today. So let's take a look at how this could be valuable for teachers. So once you've gotten to this website, once again I'll say it again, IOER.il sharedlearning.org. Once you get to this website, they make it very easy for you to sign up, especially those of you with Google accounts. So in the top right hand corner of the screen, right up here, you'll see login and register. So go ahead and click on that button. Okay. And this is the login and registration screen. So if you have a Google account, which actually everybody in my district has this Google account, because that's our domain, we go to log in with Google, and then it's going to take us to a separate screen here. And it's going to log in, and here we are. I'm logged in, and it's really that easy. If you do not have a Google account, when you go to log in, all you'll have to do is go down here and hit register. Put in your email address, confirm your email and password, first and last name. Once you have done that, an email is going to be sent to your account, so you'll have to go to your email where you can activate it. And like it says here, if you do not receive an email, make sure you check your junk folder. Really haven't had too many issues with that for the people I've tried to help with this. But it's pretty easy, and they make it pretty simple for you. So I'm going to go ahead and go back, and I'm just going to go ahead and log in with my Google account. So here we are, I'm logged in, and it's really that easy to get onto this site. And now let's take a look at kind of the nuts and bolts of how this thing works. So in this big search bar up here, this is obviously the heart of the website here, being able to search those resources that have already been shared on this Illinois Open Educational Resources website. And so it's pretty obvious what you can do here. You can search. So my content area is computer applications and technology. So what I'm going to search for first here, I'm just going to search for computer concepts, which I searched for earlier. So I'm just going to go ahead and click that and hit search. And then here are all the 1,258 resources that have been found for me about computer applications or computer concepts basics, for example. You pull that up, you can take a look at the resource. It gives you a description, and this is all really cool here. So that's just the basics of how to navigate really the search bar here and how to search for resources that you want. But this website takes a much deeper look. Like I said, this is meant to be a network of sharing resources. So really what I want to take a look at now is the dashboard. All right, so each of you should have a My Dashboard segment. And what I want to take a look at here is how these libraries can be created for you. So right now you're looking at recent resources from my library. This is stuff that I've added to my own personal library. So you might be asking, well, how do you do that? How do you create your own library? If I want to find a bunch of resources, for example, audiovisual, one of my audiovisual classes, how can I organize those and kind of catalog them so that I can go back to them later or use them in the future or share those libraries? Well, they make it really easy for you here. So I have over here on the left-hand side under My Stuff, My Library Collections. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that. And you can see this is my library here. And then that library can also be broken down into collections. So I really think of this as folders. All right. So I have an audio-visual collection or a folder where I'm going to put all of my resources that I found useful for audio-visual. I'm going to find the same thing for computer applications and computer science. That way I can organize these and break them down basically into my classes, because these are the classes that I teach throughout the day. Now ideally I would create these folders that didn't have just my picture on it. It might have a representation, an icon that represents audio-visual or computer applications or computer science. But like I said, this website's just getting off the ground, and when it was shown to me, this is the picture that I used. So that's kind of what I'll show you today. So let's go ahead and set up an additional collection in this library. Okay, so this is my excuse me, this is my Drew Witherall library. And so if I go up here to the Settings tab, okay, let's say that I want to create a new folder or a new collection for my other class. All I have to do is go down here and hit Create New Collection. Okay. And right here it's going to give me a title. What do you want the title of this collection to be? Well, I also teach a class called Desktop Publishing. All right. And I'm just going to call this for right now Collection of Resources for DTP. All right. And then the one thing that it's going to make you do over here is choose an icon. So like me, I have my picture here. You could go out and find something else, but I have my picture saved to the desktop here. So I'm going to continue to use that just for so I can show you how this works here. Set general public access level. Do you want people to only be able to read it? Can they contribute to it? Can you have them contribute to it, but only with your approval? That's really all for you. So however you would like to grant that access, you can. Set organization and member access. You can set this up through an organization. This is something that my district has not yet done, but I think would be a valuable thing to do for a district to basically be able to create an organizational account to have teachers within their own district sharing and collaborating. But anyway, moving on. So I've created this new collection here. All I have to do is hit Save Changes. All right, it's updated, and there's my new library, or excuse me, collection in my library. And right now it just has that OER logo right there. Eventually my face will show up there. So I've created this new collection. So how do I add resources to these collections? Well, let's go back out to our search bar for right now. Okay, so let's go back out and search for resources. All right. So this is under the search bar, if you go search for resources, you can filter these searches by different levels. So educational levels, if I teach adult education, which I do have a class that I'll be teaching next year that's an adult education class, grades 9 through 10 or 11 through 12, all the way down to kindergarten if you needed to. People are sharing resources and tagging their resources with the grade levels that they teach. And so out of all these resources that have just been pulled up, you can start to narrow it down by grade level. You can narrow it down by subject, and then some other options over there in your filters. I'm just going to go ahead and search computer concepts again. Oops. And computer concepts in action. All right, so this looks interesting. I go ahead and click on it. And I check out the description, maybe even actually check out the resource itself, and kind of how this all is going to work. Let's say that I like this resource, and this is something that I plan on using in the future. Well, it becomes really easy to add this to a collection. I want to add this to my library. So I'm going to save this as a resource that I'm going to use later. Once I've done that, then it gives me an additional option. Do you want to add it to a collection? So that's those folders that we set up earlier. So do you want to add it to a collection? Sure, computer applications, let's put it there. And I hit add. Okay, this resource is now part of my computer concepts collection. So if I go back to my dashboard, okay, and I go to my library and my collections, and I go into my computer applications, there it is right there, computer concepts in action. I can move it, I can copy it, I can do some other things with it, but mostly it's saved here for me to refer back to later. Pretty cool, right? Well, let's take this one step further. I'm going to go back to my dashboard again. Okay, I'm going to go to my libraries. And I've got a friend on the other side of Illinois who is going to start teaching audio-visual courses where he's teaching. And so this would be a great way for me to help him. As a teacher, I can collaborate with him and kind of help him get off the ground here. And so if I go to my audio-visual folder, all right, here's all the things that I have kind of placed into my folder for audio-visual. Well, things become really interesting here because I can hit share, and I can actually share my collection. Right, here's a link to my collection, and I can actually share that collection with my friend across the state of Illinois who needs some additional resources for audiovisual that I have found useful. I can share my whole collection with him. So that's really where things start to get interesting, is you're not only sharing individual files, but you can share an entire content area to somebody who is needing your assistance or needs those resources, and you can make that available to them. So that's a very powerful tool in and of itself. So the next thing that I want to look at is adding resources. I'm going to go back to my dashboard so you can kind of see this from the beginning. If I'm back at my dashboard and I go to my library and collections, all right, and I go to add resources, okay, from you, quickly tag or upload a resource you found or created. Let's go ahead and get started with that. This is how you share your own resources that you've created with other people so that they can use it. So let's go ahead and get started there. All right, so things you can do. You can tag a resource, create a learning set, creating a learning list, all of those things that you can explore there. For today's session, I'm just going to go ahead and go to the go to tagging tool. All right, so you have three different options here. You can tag a URL, so a resource that's already out there that you're using off of a website. You can tag that resource there, okay? And then you got to give it a title, description, give it some keywords for when people search for it. You can even add the usage rights in there. And so what we can do next is you can actually upload your own files. So if you created something in Microsoft Word or PowerPoint or whatever, you can upload this file and you can do the same thing and share that information. And then the last thing is kind of tailored to us Google users. If there's something within your Google Drive, you can share that through your Google Drive as well and create your own your own resource to share. Now's a good time probably to talk about student data. You don't really want to share anything that could have student data on it, things that would be considered something that you want to keep private. So protecting those student privacy settings and those types of things is going to be very important when you're doing this. And then also, you got to keep in mind the copyrights on certain things that you use. This is for open license resources. So if it's something you created from scratch, great, share it. But you got to keep in mind the legalities of copyright information, and that's really where you need to be careful. So just thought I would bring that up, not really as a side note, but as something to consider when you go to post your own files and tag your own files and things like that. Make sure that they are your own, or that they are openly licensed for you to be using. So I'm gonna go back to the home page here. If you want to go back to the very beginning, all you have to do is click on the old owl up there, and this is back to our main page. And there's our dashboard where most everything happens, your dashboard and library collections. So what I would like for you to do now, for those of you watching this video, is really to take this opportunity to create your own library, create your own collections, and start adding a few resources to that. So again, what you would do is you go to My Dashboard, where you're going to find your library, and then once again create these folders or these collections by going up to Settings, okay, and adding these new folders. And what I would like you to do is, once you have created a folder for each of your classes, I would like you to go and take a screenshot of that. So here are my classes. So I'm going to go to Snipping Tool on my computer, and I'm going to create a screenshot of that. Here's my screenshot of my resources, and just go ahead and save that as collections. Okay. And then you can go ahead and close out of that once you have created that screenshot of your collections. Then the next thing I'd like you to do for each one of those collections, go in and add at least 5 resources that kind of fall in line to what that course is about. All right. And then what I would like you to do, find the one that you like the most, that you think that you will probably use within the next month. Okay. Open that up. So Computer Basics for me, I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And what I'd like you to do is take a screenshot of this as well. So if I go into my snipping tool, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and take a picture of this. All right, and we'll go ahead and save that as best resource I've found. Save. Okay. And then what I'd like you to do is share that with me. So I'm going to give you my contact information here. You can contact me at dwitherall@atown276.net. Okay. Or you can also find me on Twitter at dmwitherall. And if you need additional help with this, I'll go ahead and give you the school's number here, 309-462-2338. You can contact me and I'll try to get back with you as soon as I can, if I don't answer your call right then, and I can try to help you navigate this site if you are having issues. But I think this is a very valuable resource that teachers can use, and what I'd like you to do is just share those 2 screenshots with me, just so I can see that you actually went through and collected these collections in your library, and that you explored some of the resources and you found something that you can use. So if you would go ahead and do that, and then also in the link that you were provided, I'm also going to put a quick reflection piece, a little rubric on kind of what you expected out of this and what you got from it. So if you wouldn't mind filling that out, that would be great as well. So thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy the Illinois Open Educational Resources. Once again, get a hold of me if you have any questions. Thanks.